Good afternoon, good evening, everybody, wherever you're tuning in from. It's Rod with Power Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, and interviews. It is Tuesday, December 20th. Hope you're well. See, we have quite a few people joining us on the live stream, so welcome. Let us know where you're tuning in from, and hope you're having a fantastic day so far. We'll do a quick market update. Going to make today's private live stream. I usually do these privately for Power Group private community members, but I did want to make today's video private. Public instead of private, as there's a lot going on in the markets. And I was going to try to get another video out this evening, but I had a emergency come up with my Airbnb, so I have to head over there immediately after this live stream. So I figured we'd come on and do it all, two birds with one stone. So before we get to it, make sure to smash the like, help support me on the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can tick the bell, subscribe, and you'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. So we'll do a quick market update. If anybody does have any ticker requests, just let me know. I'll do my best to get to those if time permits. But yeah, just drop it in the chat, and I'll get to the Power Group private community members requests first. And if we have time at the end, I'll do any public ticker requests as well. So we'll take a look at the crypto space at the moment. Crypto is trying to find its footing at the moment, so we're back in 15-minute uptrends across the board. If we take a look at Bitcoin on the daily time frame, we actually did confirm a daily downtrend and a daily bear flag. So once we had the high, low, lower high, anything under that 0.32 fib there at 17,200 was a potential daily bear flag. And then once we lost support there at 16,529, that confirmed the daily downtrend, that confirmed the daily bear flag, and the target was 15,500. So we're not seeing any continuation today. Today we held the low of yesterday. So we are bouncing, we're breaking the high of yesterday. So we're starting the daily bounce. We're no longer in a daily downtrend with a break of this lower high and lower low pattern, but we did confirm the daily bear flag, and we are targeting about 15,500. So it looks like bulls are trying to defend that as much as they can at the moment. They did break the daily downtrend. Trend is flat at the moment, but like I said, we are anticipating another potential leg down at about 15,500, and we are rejecting right at EMA 26, confirming as resistance as well. So it does look like we could see a little bit more downside with regards to Bitcoin and crypto. If we take a look at the weekly time frame, as I've been mentioning for a while now, crypto has been a lot weaker than the broader markets, the S&P 500, and that is because of the FTX implosion, right? So we have the weekly time frame here. We have the low, high. Now we're consolidating on the weekly. We're just looking for a weekly higher low compared to the low of the pullback there at 15,460. If we can hold that support, that'll give us a weekly higher low. And then if we can break resistance here at 18,385, that would be back in a weekly uptrend. But we need to get above that resistance in order to confirm. And like I said, we need a daily uptrend to confirm to be indicative of that weekly higher low being set. But at the moment, there's no signs of that happening. We are starting the daily bounce though, like I said. So we'll see if bulls can attempt a trend change over the next few days. HP, NDA, and BTC shorts leading the decline today. On the bull list, we have AMP, BAT, and Filecoin. Just take a quick look at XRP here real quick as well. So lots of room for a weekly higher low for XRP. So we're just looking for a higher low compared to 31.5 cents, essentially 31.4 cents. So if we can form this higher low and then break to a higher high, we'd be back in a weekly uptrend. But on the monthly time frame, we also have a monthly trend change attempt. So you have the low, high, higher low, then looking for that higher high. We already got that monthly EMA 12 and 26 bear cross out of the way. Bitcoin already saw its monthly EMA 12 and 26 bear cross as well. But we do have the head and shoulders target on Bitcoin targeting 13K, which lines up with the 0.618. So I wouldn't be surprised if we did drop to around 13K. As everything is we're still waiting for that Fed pivot, right? We're still waiting for macroeconomic events, war and things like that going on. So rising inflation. It does look like inflation is peaking, but at this time, we can't expect a massive rally until we start to see that Fed pivot. And obviously the dollar going to be something that we're paying attention to. We're still in a daily downtrend. Look at the EMA 12 here. The yellow line, rejecting, resistance, and we're still in a daily downtrend. So right now we're looking for a higher low and then a potential trend change attempt. If we did change the daily trend and we get back into a daily uptrend with a break of resistance there at 104.93, that would be daily uptrend confirmed, and that would be bad for crypto and stocks. But at the moment, we are just anticipating a lower high and a potential lower low based on this daily downtrend. On the weekly time frame, we are seeing a weekly EMA 12 and 26 bear cross, which is the inverse of what SPY is seeing. So the S&P 500 is potentially gearing up for an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross, where the shorter term is below the longer term and they cross. That is called a bull cross, and it's the opposite for DXY. Not surprising, since they're very inversely correlated, and we know that assets do well when the dollar does not do well, and then same vice versa, and we could be heading to weekly oversold. So it's a weekly inside bar at the moment. So key support right now is 103.44 and key resistance is 105.25 on the dollar. Break resistance, we start the weekly bounce. Break support, we continue weekly consolidation for the 4th week in a row. And we don't have any support really nearby until 101.29. So it looks like this could be heading to weekly oversold. Like I said, lots of confidence pointing to the fact that we could see another leg down. But SPY, no major red flags whatsoever. We're just looking for a higher low compared to 367.10. So from the low of the day, or from the low of the weekly candle this week, we could still drop another 2.75%-ish and just be looking for a weekly higher low still in a weekly uptrend. So no major red flags. And again, just like Bitcoin, in order to be confident that the weekly consolidation and the weekly lows are in, we need to change the daily trend. So if we zoom into the daily time frame, we haven't even started the daily bounce. Bounce just means we're breaking the high of the previous daily candle. So in order for that to happen, we would have to break above 383.82. That's likely not going to happen today with 22 minutes left in the day. So it's entirely possible that we go into that daily bounce tomorrow. So if today's high at 382.23 is locked in, tomorrow that'll be key resistance. If we break that, we start the daily bounce. If we start the daily bounce, we look for the bounce to top out. We form a high, then we look for a higher low and a higher high. Once we get the higher low and the higher high, then we can zoom out to the weekly time frame and watch for the weekly bounce to get back underway and then be confident that the higher low is established, right? So until we get that daily uptrend, we can expect more downside on the S&P 500, and that's going to weigh on individual stocks. So if you're wondering about any particular crypto, any particular stock, we need to see this daily uptrend confirm and this weekly higher low set in order to reduce those chances of more downside. Moving on, Tesla. So I've been very, very bearish on Tesla, one of the most bearish charts out there. I did a video last week, I believe it was, saying that it has a monthly head and shoulders target of about $85. We also have the 0.786 there at 98.99. And I got a lot of slack from that video saying, oh, you're crazy, screw your target, screw technical analysis, screw the charts. There's no way we're ever going to $85. Well, how can anybody say that when we just went through the everything bubble of 2022 and Netflix has dropped 70-80%? Amazon, let's just bring up the Amazon chart from the high, from the all-time high. And again, they did this 20-for-1 reverse split, or not reverse split, stock split, regular stock split. And we had a huge bounce. We went all the way down from a 101 to 146. And this is what market makers do. They sold the top here right before the split, right? And then they use that as exit liquidity. And then all the people who bought here thinking, oh, I can finally buy Amazon for $100. Then it ran to 146. They felt like geniuses. And then here we are down another 40% because that stock split was just as another mechanism to be exit liquidity. People said, oh, I can't afford a $3,000 stock or a $5,000 stock. Now that they did a 20-to-1 stock split, oh, I can afford $100 now. And they think it's a good idea to buy it. And then they're just preyed on even more by these market makers and these hedge funds and these financial institutions and Wall Street banks, and they just use you as exit liquidity. And now here people are, oh, I'm a long-term investor now, right? So here we are down 55%. So if it's down 55%, why can't Tesla drop 55% from its all-time high, right? So here we are down, actually we're down more than that, but Apple's also holding on as well. So Amazon was a bad example, but let's take a look at Microsoft. What was Microsoft? Actually, that one's holding up better. But Netflix, for example, right? Netflix was down 76% in like 6 months, right? So we're starting these big tech and mega cap names. They take longer for the sell-offs to occur because of how large their market cap is, right? Wasn't always the case, but now it's definitely the case. But you can see Amazon just getting absolutely destroyed. And like I said, Tesla looks very similar to the Bitcoin chart on the monthly. It had that head and shoulders that confirmed with a monthly EMA 12 and 26 bear cross, massive monthly overbought on the RSI. And then same with Tesla. We even had hidden bearish RSI divergence trending with lower highs and lower lows. And the price action was trending with higher highs and higher lows, right? So we had that indicator here that we needed to be cautious. We were sitting at 91 on the monthly RSI. Anything over 70 is considered overbought and generally not a good idea to buy and go long. It's usually a good idea to go short. And here we are heading to monthly oversold. And SPY was a clue as well. We had the .com fractal that we were watching. We had the hidden bearish RSI divergence on the monthly time frame, very similar to the .com days. Price peaked in 1996, RSI peaked in 1996, and then 4 years later the price peaked, then we went to monthly oversold. in the everything bubble, not the dot-com bubble, but everything bubble, price RSI peaked in 2018. 4 years later, 2022, the price peaked, and then we're potentially heading to monthly oversold. And look at that dot-com fractal that I've overlaid; it's following perfectly, right? So again, all this confluence, the fact that SPY was doing that, the fact that Bitcoin had a monthly head and shoulders and a monthly EMA 12 and 26 bear cross, the fact that Tesla is very close to seeing its monthly EMA 12 and 26 bear cross, and it has a head and shoulders as well, very similar to Bitcoin because they hold Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Anybody who tells you that Bitcoin doesn't matter, they got their head up, up there, you know what? Because why would Tesla hold Bitcoin if it didn't matter, right? And if I don't really care what you think about Bitcoin, personally, I don't own any Bitcoin at the moment. I don't own 1 cent worth of it. But here's the thing. It matters because Bitcoin is on Tesla's balance sheet. So of course it matters. Why do you think the charts look similar? It's because Bitcoin was leading the market, then we would see Tesla move, then we would see the S&P 500 move because of the heavy weighting of Tesla in the S&P, and because of that they had over $1 billion of Bitcoin on their balance sheet, right? Of course, these things are correlated. Anybody who tells you otherwise just has their head up, up there, you know what, right? So you just take it for what it is. I don't care if you're a believer or a non-believer in Bitcoin or crypto, whatever it is, but it matters, right? And you can take a look at the chart, and the charts, we're saying this for months now, and we're targeting about 100 psychological to $85. Right, and that's the monthly head and shoulders target. We've yet to see that EMA 12 and 26 bear cross occur, and we have the monthly RSI peaking and hidden bearish RSI divergence heading to potential monthly oversold. Same with Bitcoin, right? And then we also have the 0.786 there at 98.99, and then 100 psychological. But on the monthly time frame, we have no support down to $23 on Tesla. Right, so this is why I'm very bearish still. We do have some weekly support there at 126, so 125 psychological. Then after that, 109, and then 91. So we are scouting a bottom soon. We're touching down on weekly oversold. So if you're looking for a potential play on Tesla, nice swing opportunity and short-term trade, what you could do is start to potentially scale into Tesla now, right? Again, not telling you to buy, sell, or hold. This isn't financial advice, but could be a nice opportunity with daily oversold, weekly oversold, very close to monthly oversold. Again, if you know nothing about stocks or crypto or technical analysis, if you just sell when we're up here and buy when we're down here, you'll probably do better than 99% of people out there, right? I knew people buying back here after the second stock split saying, I'm a long-term investor, I don't care. And now they're wishing that they would have, because you can still be a long-term investor and get a better price, right? Or not go all in, save some money on the side. That's why I've been saying hedge with the S&P 500 short. That's an option as well. You could short with SQQQ, which is the ETF for inverse leverage for the Qs. And look at QQQ over the last few months. It's up almost 140%, right? Not surprising. In terms of individual names on the day today, we have Tesla leading to the decline. Wish somebody would have warned us about that one, right? WNW, DPRO, and then on the bull list, we have EH, IMV, and NEXE. We also had a PowBot algo sell alert go off on Apple, and Apple has been holding up a lot better. But again, EMA 12 and 26 bear cross potentially set to occur, and this thing could easily go Geronimo, in my opinion. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing at $75. So CGC, taking a look at Canadian MJ. So CGC continues to get destroyed with the MJ sector at large because of the fact that there's no safe included in the omnibus. There's no form of reform that we were expecting in the lame duck session. Of course, be ready for any kind of a surprising event, but at the moment it's looking like nothing's going to happen until we either get HHS, the DOJ, and Biden to potentially do something at the federal level, right? Whether it be rescheduling from a Schedule 1 to Schedule 2, maybe they schedule it to a Schedule 3, maybe they deschedule it and they don't schedule it at all on the controlled substances. So that could happen as well. And we need to be ready for a surprise, right? And I've never seen this much negative sentiment in MJ in my entire life. So that's why I'm starting to be bullish. I actually bought some more MJ today, and I still own more crypto dollar-wise than I do MJ, right? And again, I know I've been preaching to the choir here and I've been sounding like a broken record, but why do you think that I own more crypto dollar-wise than I do MJ? It's because of the fact that MJ was in a 4-year bear market essentially, right? At least 2, right? We had that run up in February 2021, but not many names went to all-time highs or new all-time highs. It was just kind of that massive release rally and that FOMO and that hype that we had leading into the Democrats taking control of the Senate, thinking that we could get some sort of legalization, right? And that was just on hopes of legalization, right? So I'm going to be here. My goal from the beginning was to be here for US legalization, the biggest catalyst that we're ever going to see. I've never invested any more than I'm willing to lose. And I'm not saying, I don't empathize with those that are down money, because I understand there's some people who are down six figures. There's some people who are down, large five figures. There's some people who are down large six figures. But let this be a lesson to you as well, right? Because you don't need to invest $50,000 or $100,000. I've seen people say that they've invested, I know a friend that invested over $1 million. His father invested over $1 million into T-God, right? And that thing just got absolutely destroyed. I would never I don't care how much money I had. If I had $5 million net worth, I would never put $1 million into MJ stocks. I wouldn't do it. It's too risky. You don't need to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars in the most riskiest asset class on the planet to make life-changing wealth, right? And it's quite the contrary. It's actually the opposite. You only need to invest a little bit to make life-changing wealth, right? If you take a look at some cryptos in March 2020, like Dogecoin or Cardano, $1,000 investment would have yielded you about $500,000 over a course of a 2-year period, right? So you don't need to invest $100,000 in order to see life-changing gains, right? Yes, cryptos are risky. Yes, MJ's risky, but they are the highest risk with the highest reward. You don't need to invest $50,000 or $100,000, especially not into one particular MJ stock or crypto, right? That's just asking for, unless you get really lucky, but most of the times you're not going to get lucky. And like I said, it is what it is. And I'm not trying to, I'm down a lot on my MJ positions, not trying to sugarcoat it. Obviously I can, relate, but I didn't invest any more than I was willing to lose. I've diversified, own more. I've got about 15 different MJ stocks and positions. I've got US operators, I've got Canadian operators, got retailers, I've got ETFs in MJ. I've also got a ton of crypto. I said I own more crypto dollar-wise than I do MJ. I've got mutual funds, which are now basically in money market funds, which is basically just like cash, very low risk. And I've got real estate. I've been doing Airbnb, right? Why do you think I've been focusing on other aspects, right? In real estate, I'm buying the beaten down real estate market here in the condo market in Edmonton. I'm not, looking at these MJ charts all the time or looking at crypto charts all the time when we're in this brutal bear market, right? It's just finding other ways to supplement your income, other ways to continue to push on, right? Keep on keeping on. And MJ, again, my thesis has been unwavered. I'm going to continue to dollar cost average. I'm going to continue to to buy when we have blood in the streets, right? And I'll just wait for the biggest catalyst of our lifetime, which is going to be reform and regulation. And you could even say the same thing about crypto, but crypto isn't on a Schedule 1 drug, right? So we're literally sitting on the same list as heroin, right? So just take it for what it is. Unfortunately, we're down. Some people are down 90%. Some people are down 80%. Some people are down 70%, maybe more. And you just have to realize that MJ isn't going anywhere. As long as you diversify and you don't invest any more than you're willing to lose, you save some cash on the sideline. I've been saying for a while now that the S&P 500 could see a massive sell-off, and that's why I've been using SPXS as a hedge position, right? And then use that money to buy more beaten down MJ, the profits you make off of that SPY short position, right? So back in, got off on a tangent there, but I definitely feel for people because the sentiment is super low at the moment. But when there's this many people that are this bearish, you need to wonder, like, when is it going to stop, right? And the fact that people are this bearish just leads me to believe that we're probably closer to a bottom than most people think. So let's just clean this up here a little bit. So CGC, one of the leaders in the space over the last little while. If we take the high to the low in the fib tool, anything under 358 on this daily bounce was a daily bear flag. It was a very, very weak bounce. We didn't even get over the 0.236 there at 329, and then we confirmed the daily bear flag with a loss of 281 support. Once we lost 281, that was a daily downtrend confirm and daily bear flag confirm, and we've targeted 213, which is the low of the previous low here at from the 52-week low. 213. So looking like we could potentially see a double bottom. So again, if you're looking for a nice entry and swing trade, very low risk opportunity, you can start to scale in now with a stop below say $2 USD, since this is on the NASDAQ. And you could look to bottom fish this off a double bottom. So again, daily downtrend, daily bear flag, and the target was 213, and we have double bottom and the 52-week low there at 213 as well. So this is why technical analysis is great, because we knew that anything just under 358 was a potential daily bear flag. And then once we confirmed it by a loss of 281 support, the target was 213. And here we are hitting a low of 230 today, right? So opportunity to go short here, make money, and then opportunity to scale in and go long off of support with a tight stop loss, right? So it's all about support and resistance. If you're looking at day trades, personally, I'm not looking to trade MJ. I'm not looking for taco gains. I don't care about the money I put in. I don't need the money that I put in. I still got a 6-figure cash position, right? I still got a short position on the S&P 500. I've got more dollar-wise in crypto than I've got real estate. I've got mutual funds. I don't need the money I put into MJ. And I also didn't put in 100 grand or 200 grand into MJ because that's just ludicrous in my opinion. So again, not to try to sound like I know it all or I'm not empathetic, because I am, but just let this be a lesson to be learned that, when you're dealing with MJ or crypto, the two most riskiest asset classes on the planet, you need to either, you need a plan. And most people don't plan. You need to not invest any more than you're willing to lose. And I think that's the golden rule that most people broke, right? So TGOD, PCLO, and IMCC leading the decline today. On the bullish, we have NOVC and PWR and WIB. So Hexo, brutal pullback continues over the last few days. To be expected, though, with the reverse split, the miss on earnings. Right now, the market cap is like, I think, $70 million. We're under Canara Biotech, which is just absolutely insane when you think about it, because Canara doesn't even have nationwide distribution yet. So that's pretty incredible when you think about it. So the opportunity is absolutely monstrous right now with MJ and Hexo and a lot of our names. Not just Hexo, it's CGC. CGC's back down to its all-time lows, right? But we're still holding the monthly uptrend. So we have the low, high, higher low, not all-time lows, 52-week lows, sorry. Low, high, higher low, and higher high. We're just looking for a higher low. So there's no major red flags at the moment on CGC because we're holding 223 so far. We hit a low of 230. If we lose 223, we lose the monthly uptrend, and that's a huge cause for concern. But right now, everything's looking just fine in terms of the monthly time frame. So again, great opportunity. You could even get in now with a stop below 223. And if we lose 223, then we lose the monthly uptrend, and then we're likely going to see another leg down. But you want to allow some wiggle room, in my opinion, as they would potentially go stop loss hunting there. But yeah, obviously Hexo, I did add some Hexo today. I added some MSOS as well. I was going to add it yesterday. I said to a lot of people in the POW group private community that I would add at 125 USD. But then based on how close, the safe banking not getting past an omnibus yesterday, based on hopes in this lame duck session fading, based on the S&P 500 still being in weekly consolidation mode with yet any daily uptrend, and then closing near the low of the day and how bearish the sector was yesterday, I said I was going to wait. So today I added Hexo, and I was glad I did, because we ended up seeing even more daily consolidation today, and we got as low as 113. I filled at 116 USD, and then I bought MSOS at 7. I think it was like 710 or something like that. But here we are, MSOS dropping again to another lower low and all-time low. So 683 is the low here of the day today. In the last 2 days, we're down 25%, over 25% on MSOS, right? Which is an ETF for all the names in the US. So if people are concerned about Hexo, well, Hexo has an excuse at least. At least it did a reverse split. It missed on earnings. What's MSOS's excuse, right? It's down 25% in the last 3 days, right? It's the same thing across the board. Look at the poster childs. Look at TrueLeave in the last 3 days, down almost 30%. Right? The whole sector is being manipulated, right? And I own 15 different MJ stocks at the moment. So you think when I log into my account that I'm only mad at Hexo? Absolutely not. Like, everything's down, right? You need to just take it for what it is, learn from your mistakes, learn from it for next time. And there'll probably be a lot of people that'll never come back to MJ after this, but that exactly is why I'm getting excited now, is because I'm seeing contagion. I'm seeing the emotions just being, the contagion from all the emotions. People are really getting frustrated, and I've never seen this low sentiment in the MJ space. But like I said, if we take a look at the opportunities, the valuations right now are just, so unrealistic. It's almost laughable at some of these names, but I did add Hexo today at 116. And we're sitting on that now with 4 minutes left in the day. I added just a tiny bit. I only added a couple thousand shares. I will back up the truck, and I'll go heavy on $1 psychological, as that is going to be key support, right? We need to hold $1 to maintain our compliance with the NASDAQ. So that's going to be where I'm going to look to add heavily and defend that $1 support if we do get there this week or into the next few weeks. But we know we have until January 25th to regain compliance. So we're coming up on, it'll be 5 weeks from tomorrow. All we need to do, if we close over $1 today, that's 2 days. And then we just need 8 more days in a row trading above $1. In terms of USMJ, we have MedMen, Ian, CCH. Leading the decline on the bullish, we have CXXI, BEV, and CNVCF. So MSOS, not really much to see here. It was a daily bear flag, so similar to CGC, we take the high to the low and we measure that out. Go from high to the low. Whoops. And then move this out to the 0.32. It's saying we could go as low as 580. So I'll add MSOS again if we get to $5. But this daily bear flag targets targeting 580 on MSOS. And likely means that we could see more weakness in the broader market as well. But not yet weekly oversold. We're daily oversold, not yet weekly oversold. Not yet monthly oversold, but all-time low. So again, when you look at names like this, if you're wondering why your individual MJ name is down and why you're so frustrated and your emotions are high and you just want to never look at MJ again, well, look at MSOS. It's an ETF that tracks all the major operators in the US, which everybody loves, the US operators, right? And there's no shortage of haters and bashers about Canadian LPs and Canadian MJ. Well, look at MSOS. MedMen down 28% today, right? We've got Ian down 20%, TAT down 13%, Planet 13 down 10%, Verano down over 10%, GTII almost 10%, right? So again, if MSOS was, if this was MSOS and we were trending back up to all-time highs right now, and then Canadian operators were at all-time lows and 52-week lows, then I'd be concerned. But when MSOS is setting new all-time lows and all MJ is getting destroyed, I'm not too concerned about one particular company. That's why I'm diversified, right? And I didn't invest any more than I'm willing to lose, and I saved a ton of cash to buy the dip, right? All right, jumping into the chat. Once again, thanks everybody for joining us. I see we have quite a few people with us still after almost 30 minutes, so welcome, welcome. Hi, Rod. Hope you're having a good day. You as well. Thank you very much for joining the stream, Renee. Do you think they should have waited until 2023 to do that now, give people even more reason to sell their shares to do tax loss harvesting? Let me know what you think about Hexo. Yeah, so that's, well, again, they needed to do it right before the Christmas break. We also need 10 trading days to get back above $1, right? So if they waited and then the market, let's say the broader market ended up being weak, and then, the S&P 500 dropped 10, 15%, which could happen. What if they didn't time it right? So I think that they were kind of worried about, okay, well, if we wait, we might not hit that 10 days trading days above $1. So if the quicker they did it, the better, in my opinion, because it would allow them more time to do so, right? So essentially they're going to get 2 or 3 goes at it, right? Because they did the reverse split. Now we're 2 days now from 19th and the 20th above $1. So if we do 1, 2, 3, I don't know exactly what dates I think it's closed on the 26th and the 27th, but I haven't looked into the holiday schedule yet for the NASDAQ, but something we'll have to look into, but it doesn't really matter a whole lot. So essentially what we're just looking for is, 10 days. That would put us well into the first, second week of January. And if we waited until the first or second week of January, we would only have until the 25th. And if market conditions, the broader market didn't align well and they timed that incorrectly or just bad timing, right? Because they got unlucky, then they could have been at risk of delisting, right? So I think it was probably a good idea to do it now. And like I said, even if we dip below $1, we can still reset that timer and then go another 10 days. We still have the opportunity to do another 10 days, right? And the market did just close at 116. So we'll see. That's 2 days now in a row above $1. And like I said, that's why I added today at 116, and I added a couple thousand shares. I'll really back up the truck. I'll probably add anywhere from like 7,000 to 10,000 shares on Hexo at $1 to defend that support. I would encourage anybody else who's looking to add Hexo as well. You could do the same. Again, not telling you to buy, sell, or hold. This is for entertainment purposes only, not financial advice. My opinion only, but if you were looking to add Hexo and wondering what's a good price, I added at 116. You don't have to do what I do, but that's what I did. And I'm going to be waiting to $1 to defend that, the Hexo army, essentially, defend that $1 support. So, yeah, very well could happen. Tax loss harvesting, that's probably attributing to a lot of the sell-off that we're seeing as well because of the lack of reform and in this lame duck session. But just keep in mind that tax loss harvesting, people have to they have to be out of that position. I think it's for 60 days. So what if the DOJ and HHS and Biden somehow reschedule MJ and they get it off of Schedule 1, and all these people who did a tax loss harvesting can't rebuy that stock for 60 days, and then MJ goes through the roof, right? Or what if the new Republican House, there's been rumors floating around that they might even be incentivized to get some sort of safe banking done, right? So to me, I don't really care. I'm just going to continue to do what my plan was for the last 4 years, and I'm going to continue to hold. I have it in a long-term account, have it in a short-term account. My long-term MJ, I'm not selling it till the U.S. legalizes, right? So it's easy to get emotional and then change your game plan. For me, I don't care if my account goes down to what it was, lower than what it was yesterday, what it was a year ago. I don't need that money anyway. I saved a ton of money on the side. I'm just going to continue to dollar cost average. And then when the U.S. legalizes, I plan to see my MJ bag at about multi-millions worth of dollars, right? And yeah, I'll ride it either to zero, and I'll make the video if I'm wrong. MJ was a fad. MJ's never gonna amount to anything, and MJ's gonna go away, and it's just never gonna be accepted, right? I don't think that's ever gonna happen. That's why I'm diversified. I own many different MJ companies, but at the end of the day, it's risky, right? All investing is risky. And that's why when you change your plan, when things are down 80 to 90%, it's easy for people to change their plan and just, tap out, okay, maybe the markets aren't for me. And then that's quite often when we see the huge reversal come, and then we usually get some sort of unexpected news. Like, can you imagine if Biden descheduled cannabis with HHS? Like, that would be, and I kind of wondered that too, because I was like, everybody and their dog is expecting safe banking to pass. And that made me think even more like, okay, maybe it won't. Maybe because I was thinking that safe banking was going to pass first and then descheduling. But now it's looking like we might get like a green swan, right? Something that no one saw coming. Instead of a black swan where, it's turmoil in the market, we could get a green swan, no pun intended either, where they could deschedule or reschedule, and then that could solve a slew of issues all at once, uplisting. That would solve safe banking. That could potentially solve 280E and all these taxations that's really hurting their profitability. And the market would just absolutely explode, right? So I'm not going to miss that. Everybody needs to make their own decision, though. If you're going to tax loss harvest, whatever it be, that's why I've been adding to my RSP to offset my income for the year and things like that. And then keep in mind, TFSA is going to restart here in a couple of weeks, and Canadians will have an extra $6,500 that you can add to your TFSA if you're already maxed like me. So hopefully that helps. Hexo is going down rapidly. Yep. Well, in case you haven't seen the blood in the streets today, look at all MJ in Canada. Look at all MJ in the US. Again, I think we need to get away from saying one company is going down when the whole sector is completely bleeding out. Like I said, MSOS is an ETF tracking all the main operators in the US who are profitable. They have great numbers. So why in the hell is MSOS at an all-time low? And why in the last month is MSOS down, 30%? Was it? I think it was 30%. Let's get rid of this. Oh my God. Too many lines. There we go. So we're down, in the last month, MSOS is down over 50%. It's like 53%, right? So if an ETF that tracks all the major US operators, right? No wonder Hexo's down. It did a reverse split, 1 for 14. It missed on its earnings. And the whole sector, including MSOS, the ETF, is down 50% in the last month, right? So no wonder it's down. The whole sector's down. Broader market's weak. So it's, like I said, it is what it is. It'd be a completely different story if the whole sector was thriving and Hexo wasn't doing well. I'd be singing a different tune. But today I added at 116. I'll add again at $1, and I'll continue to defend that support. And I don't have any emotions whatsoever, because I would have emotions about Hexo probably if the whole sector was doing great. I'd be like, well, screw this investment, right? But it's par for the course. The whole sector is destroyed, right? Hello, hold on for legalization. Yeah, basically all we can do now. High tide, yeah, sure, let's take a look at high tide. So I would assume that because it's in the MJ sector, it's getting absolutely destroyed. Let's see if I'm right. Well, not too bad. I mean, from its high the last month, it's down 40%. So MSOS is down 50% from the high of last month. We're down about 36%. So it is holding up a little bit better. And then on the weekly time frame, we're just looking for a weekly higher low. It's a weekly inside bar at the moment, so resistance there at 162, support at 139. If we break resistance, we start the weekly bounce. We look towards resistance there at 223. If we lose support at 139, we continue weekly consolidation for the 4th week in a row, and we look for a higher low compared to the 52-week low there at 131. Daily downtrend, we did get the EMA 12 and 26 bear cross out of the way, not yet daily oversold, which we could be potentially heading to, but we are looking for a daily uptrend. So we just need to confirm daily uptrend. So low, high, higher, low. We're looking for a higher low compared to 139. If we break resistance at 156 after holding this low here, we'd be in a daily uptrend. Then we zoom out to the weekly. We would at that point likely break the weekly inside bar bullish. We'd look for the weekly bounce to get underway, and then we would need to get above 223 to be in a weekly uptrend. Then we would zoom out to the monthly, watch for the monthly inside bar to break. If we break 223, again, if you lose the weekly uptrend, it means we're probably consolidating on the monthly, losing the low of the previous monthly candle. If you lose the daily uptrend, you're probably consolidating on the weekly time frame. If you confirm a weekly uptrend, you're probably breaking the high of the monthly candle. If you confirm a daily uptrend, you're probably breaking the high of the previous weekly candle, right? So it's just knowing what uptrends are. So we'll just start with one time frame at a time. At this point, it's a monthly inside bar. So what we need to see to be confident that the bear market is over in MJ, we need to see all names do this, higher lows and higher highs, just like what CGC did. And if we look at the monthly time frame, it's still in a monthly uptrend. We have the low, high, higher low, and higher high. We're just looking for a higher low compared to 223. We had a low of 230 today. So as long as 223 holds, we're still in a monthly uptrend. But a lot of names still lagging. High Tide hasn't even started its higher low yet because it's a monthly inside bar. What we need to see is a low, high, higher low, and higher high, right? So at the moment, there's no major red flags. It is holding up a little bit better than some of our other names, but at the moment, we still need to confirm a daily, weekly, and monthly uptrend. So we're still extremely bearish on High Tide. Not to say there's not opportunity, right? It had a nice bounce over the last few days, but we are set to potentially close below the 10-week moving average. We haven't seen a bear cross of the weekly MACD yet. But I would like to see us close over 157 this week, or else we are at risk of another major leg down. High Tide on the weekly moving averages. We have nothing nearby until 260, which is the 50 weekly. And we're likely gearing up for a potential golden cross over the next couple of weeks and months. Yeah, exactly. So we had a 50 and a 100 bull cross, but we have yet to see the 50 cross through the 200-day moving average, which is referred to as a golden cross. When the 50 is above the 200 and then it crosses down with the shorter term above the longer term and the 50 and the 200-day moving average, that's a death cross, right? So when that cross occurred, price was at around $6, and then we dropped all the way down to $1. So the death cross is in the name, right? Massive downside. Now we're potentially gearing up for a golden cross, which means we could see massive upside. So if we zoom out to 3 years, when's the last time we had a golden cross? Way back here in October 2020, when the Dems took control of the Senate in the elections. And then look at that, 50 was below the 200, golden cross. We went from about $1 to $2 all the way up to all-time highs of $13, right? Then we had the death cross, went from $6 all the way down to $1. Now we're gearing up for a potential golden cross again when everybody and their dog is the most bearish they've ever been on MJ. Funny how that works, right? When the moving averages are finally starting to curl and see a potential golden cross, when 99% of retail doesn't even want to look at another MJ chart for as long as they live, right? So it's just funny how that happens. But back here, everybody loved High Tide. Everybody loved MJ, talking to their friends and their family members. Look, I'm a genius. I made so much money. And then we all know the story, right? So it's just funny how the narrative fits, the opposite, essentially, the contrarian view of what the charts do, right? The charts are basically a little bit of a leading indicator, right? We start to see these patterns develop before the actual move occurs. And that's why we look at volume and things like that. Volume usually precedes price. And if we look at MSOS, actually on the monthly time frame, we've got record monthly volume. So we had record monthly volume back in October. And I pointed that out as well. So did CGC. If we bring up CGC on the monthly time frame, CGC had record monthly volume in October as well. And we've still got 10 days left in this month, so we could even potentially hit record monthly volume this month. And that would be indicative of a capitulation bottom. But MSOS, massive volume this month. This could be our volume climax that we're looking for. Sitting at 676 after hours. So again, I'll add MSOS again if we get to $5. But I'm really kind of hoping at this point that MJ just stays low until the new year, and then I can max out my TFSA into more beaten down MJ. Again, that's why I have a 6-figure cash position sitting on the sidelines, just waiting to dollar cost average, right? Not getting too antsy, not putting in more money than I'm willing to lose. You know, I cringe when people say they're down like 100 grand or 200 grand on MJ. I mean, if you're down 100 grand or 200 grand on MJ, that means they had to put in at least, you know, if you're down 100 grand, you had to put in at least, you know, like 110, 120 grand into it, right? Or if you're down 200 grand, you probably put in like $250,000. I just could not imagine, unless you're a billionaire putting in $250,000, okay, that's fine. Or like maybe you're half a billionaire or something, you got $500 million, you don't know what to do with, you put $1 million or something like that into MJ. But I just, you know, even with a $10 million net worth, I don't know if I'd put $250,000 of it into MJ. You don't need to, right? Like if, for example, let's just take a look. CGC, for example. If CGC goes back to all-time highs from current levels, whoops, if it goes back to all-time highs, that's 26x, right? $1,000 into $26,000. If you look at Tilray goes back to all-time highs. Here's a better example. I highly doubt Tilray is going to go anywhere, right? Like they're probably not going to go bankrupt. They're probably going to be existing in 5 to 10 years. So if this thing goes to a new all-time high, if you bought now, that's 104x, over 100x. So $1,000 into $100,000, right? So if you put in $10,000 now at this, and then it goes back to all-time highs, you're a millionaire, right? You don't need to put in 100 grand or 200 grand, right? Unless you're just trying to really, you know, of course you're probably trying to make it happen quicker, right? But you're also risking a ton of capital, right? Probably your life savings at that point, especially if you're just a regular average retail investor like me, right? Hey Rod, do you think Santa rally is still valid? Not really. No, it's not looking good because we could see tax loss harvesting continue, and we still even yet to confirm a daily uptrend. So on the S&P 500, we need to confirm a daily uptrend to be confident that the weekly lows are in. But as long as we hold 367 on SPY, no major red flags, that means the weekly uptrend is still intact. But if we do see a lower high and a lower low, then we'd be in a weekly downtrend, and that would be a major cause for concern. But at the moment, we're still in a monthly downtrend. And if we do start monthly consolidation, either in the next 10 days, if we lose 367.10, that would be a loss of the monthly or the weekly uptrend. What do I say early in the stream? If we lose the weekly uptrend, that means we're likely consolidating on the monthly time frame, losing the low of the previous monthly candle. So if we lose 367.10, we lose the weekly uptrend, we start monthly consolidation, we could come all the way down to about 359, and then it could be an inverse head and shoulders. And if we see the inverse head and shoulders play out, then the target would be new all-time highs at 482 on the S&P 500. But that would deviate from this .com fractal that we've been following verbatim. So it's not impossible because of the amount of money and manipulation, you know, the Fed printing trillions of dollars and injecting it into the market, artificially propping it up. So I wouldn't be surprised if we did deviate. Keep in mind, Congress is still yet to be banned from owning stocks. So that could be our final catalyst to mark the top. Once, you know, Congress is banned because they don't want to sell at the lows. They also don't want to sell unless they're forced to, because then it looks like they're insider trading or manipulating. But if they're forced to sell, they look like the hero, right? And then that could be our marquee top on, you know, this bounce and on this, you know, one final push higher, in my opinion. But we need to come to terms with we might not deviate, and we might continue to follow this fractal. And if we do, it's saying by spring we could drop as low as below 300. It says we could go as low as 280. 288. Then we would see a massive rally, likely up to around 350, and then into the beginning of 2024, it says we could be all the way down in the low 200s, or around the 230s. So we need, again, you need to prepare for all scenarios, and we could be heading to monthly oversold, just like we did in the .com days. It took about 1,000 days from when the price peaked to monthly oversold. It took around, actually no, it took 7. Let's do that again. Just a quick estimate. So it took around 760 days. So we'll say 800 days. So yeah, that lines up. It's like perfect. So it's saying by February 2024, we could potentially hit the end of this bear market in the broader market. And you need to expect that. We had 125% of gains on the S&P 500 in 2 years, right? The average annual return on the S&P is around 12%. So we had 10 years worth of gains condensed into 2 years. We need to expect a brutal sell-off, right? So anybody who tells you that Tesla can't go to $85, is they just don't have a clue what they're talking about, right? In June 2019, we were at $11 all the way up to 414, right? Of course, we can go back down to 85. Of course, we can go to monthly oversold after being heavily overbought, right? It just happens, right? Look at Amazon. How many times has it been monthly overbought and oversold? Overbought, terrible time to buy. Almost oversold, great time to buy. Overbought, probably a bad time to buy. Then we were getting down to oversold, probably a good time to buy, right? Same thing. Bad time to buy, good time to buy. And then we just went on the biggest run of history, right? And now here we are getting close to monthly oversold. So it's not looking good for an end of year rally at all. But the dollar is still bearish, and the weekly time frame says that it could see another potential leg down. So we'll see. Congress still yet to be banned. We would need something massive though, in order to ignite the sector, or for the markets, right? We need a Fed pivot essentially. Maybe Russia and Ukraine stop the war. That could be another catalyst as well. They end the war. Also, what's next for MJ since SAFE isn't happening this year? So it's probably rescheduling or descheduling altogether. So watch for HHS and DOJ, right? That's like, and then the new Republican House, they said that they had incentivization to potentially get some sort of safe banking done as well. So we'll see what the new Congress offers in the new year. But in my opinion, I'd say it's more than likely that we get rescheduling or even descheduling, the least thing that people would expect, right? I bought Hexo at $13.20 Canadian, down $227,000. Is worth just over $1,000 now. Biggest mistake I've ever made. Yeah, well, oh man, yeah, that I cringe when I see that. I don't even know what to say to that, Randy. That's awful. My condolences. I will say though that, you know, I'll stick to what I usually do. I don't tell people what they want to hear. I tell them what they need to hear. And my first thought is that's way too much. I would never put that much money into a stock. And I know that might come across as like, oh, don't be an asshole, but I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm just saying I would never put that much money into any stock. Like, I don't care what it is. Especially not MJ, the riskiest asset class on the planet, right? So I feel bad, and I wish that, you know, wouldn't have been the case. I'm down a lot too. I'm down about the same. I'm down, you know, over 90% on my Hexo investment, but it's nowhere near $250,000. I just wouldn't let that happen, right? That's breaking the golden rule, losing way more than I would ever stand to lose, right? So hopefully the whole silver lining out of this, Randy, is that you learn from it, and that and I think you did, right? Because you said, I think this is the biggest mistake that I ever made. And as long as you realize that that was a mistake, I don't think your mistake was investing in Hexo. I think it was how you approached the investment and how much you invested. I don't know. Maybe you have $1 billion net worth and you're fine. But yeah, that's tough. That stings. I would just take it as a learning opportunity. Use it as you know, this is probably the most expensive lesson I've ever learned. But with that being said, let's just take a look at the Hexo chart here. So if Hexo goes back to all-time highs from current levels, and I know you're probably thinking like, why is this guy talking about all-time highs right now? That seems like a lifetime away. But that's 411x. If we go back to all-time highs, so if you're down $227,000, I'm not telling you to do this. I'm not telling you to buy, sell, or hold. But how many $1,000 investments would you need to make to recoup that loss? So if you put $1,000 into Hexo today and it goes back to all-time highs, that'd be 411. We'll say 400x. So that would be, for every $1,000 you put in now, if we go back to all-time highs, that $1,000 would be worth $400,000. So I don't know. Maybe you want to put in another $1,000, $2,000, and then if we go back to all-time highs, that, you know, let's say you put in $2,000, we go back to all-time highs, that's worth $800,000. Now you're up. You know, now you're down. You're the 227,000 you were down. Now you're up substantially, right? You're almost millionaire status, and plus the losses that you would have recouped if you didn't sell that $227,000 loss. You know, you'd be probably well over $1 million status. But again, I'm not telling you to add more in. But you know, if you're down $227,000, if I was down that much, which again I would never allow that to happen. I'd probably put in another 1,000 or 2,000 at least to say, okay, if we do go back to all-time high, and if I'm wrong, be prepared to kiss that other $1,000 or $2,000 away. But again, even Tilray, or maybe you don't want to put it into Hexo because, I'm down $227,000. I'm tapped out. Okay, well, if Tilray goes back to all-time highs and it's still here in 5 to 10 years from now, that's 100x. So how many thousand dollars would you need to put into Tilray to recoup that? You'd only need $2,500 to $3,000. If Tilray goes back to all-time highs, there's your Hexo loss gone, right? And assuming you didn't sell Hexo, Tilray goes back to all-time highs, your Hexo is probably going to be doing pretty good at that point. Or maybe Tilray buys Hexo and it converts into Tilray shares. Tilray goes back to all-time high and you're laughing anyway, right? So, yeah, I honestly don't, I'm lost for words. I couldn't imagine being down that much. I feel bad for you, man. But just let this be, just don't ever let it happen again, right? That's the silver lining. And just realize that, that was a mistake and learn from it, I guess, right? Do you know that Hexo let go of 32 of their sales team, including the marketing agency? Well, I still see a ton of marketing going on like Instagram. Actually, like their marketing's probably the best in the industry, I would say. I see it all the time, constantly, and just very good quality. It kind of reminds me of like a Molson Coors almost, essentially. But they cut like 1/3 of their staff. So that's why you've been seeing a huge increase in SG&A, or improvement in SG&A. Sales, General, and Administration, and we should still see an increase over the next quarter or so. I think the fact that Hexo fired 60% of their employees is one of the best decisions they made. They need to become profitable, then the cash will roll in. Yeah, and it's not just Hexo. Like, look at, there's like big tech companies are cutting their workforce, right? Like massive, I can't remember exactly, but like I think Twitter, maybe not Twitter, but like we're seeing big tech layoffs and downsizing at levels we've never seen before. So yes, of course, MJ is going to do that because they're focusing on profitability, and we're in a recession right now, right? We could even be entering into a depression, probably the worst in history, in my opinion. So the worst might not even be in yet. But I agree. I think that was a smart decision. Looks like a delisting is a real possibility now. Stock could be below $1 by week's end. Well, that's why I've been saying defend $1. But yeah, even if they dip below $1, they can still reset that timer. They have until January 25th. I don't think it's going to happen, but yeah, anything's possible. And if they did get delisted, they'd still be, it'd just be like TGOD, right? Essentially, it'd just be listed on, or I think TGOD even got delisted from TSX. Yeah, they're on the CSE now, so they're not even on the TSX. So again, it's not just Hexo. TGOD got delisted from the TSX. They weren't even on a U.S. major exchange, right? So TGOD wasn't even worthy of the TSX. Now they're on the CSE. So again, if it was just Hexo, I'd be concerned, but it's all MJ, right? And it sounds to me that all these people who are talking about Hexo being down, you probably don't own much other MJ, if I had to guess, right? But if you did, like me, and you logged in and you said, oh, it's not just one out of my 15 investments that are down, it's all 15 of my MJ investments are down 70 to 90% plus, right? So how can I hate on one company in my MJ portfolio for being down 90% when the average is down 70, 80, 90% across the board, right? Just wouldn't make any sense. And the whole industry is having the same problem. And that's because of the lack of regulation and reform, right? My remaining money is in GICs. Yep, so that's not a bad idea as well, given the fact that we're in a recession. So taking that guaranteed income is probably not a bad idea. Randy, I disagree. I don't think Hexo will delist, especially with every sale is now profitable after a deal with Tilray. Also, they will be probably hitting positive EBITDA in the next quarter or two. Yeah, so they mentioned positive adjusted EBITDA. They mentioned cash flow positive over the next 4 quarters from the time the Tilray deal closed. So that could put us maybe into the summer or spring of 2023. And yeah, every sale now profitable. And they also signed that long-term supply deal with Entourage. We were talking about that in the Pow Group private community. They paid more in excise taxes off less revenue this quarter than they did last quarter. So why do you think they're signing these supply deals with Tilray and Entourage? Guess what doesn't incur excise taxes? Wholesale and international sales. So maybe that's why they said they're going to focus on their strategic and their core values, which is cultivation. And they're going to start doing these supply deals and wholesale deals because that's going to be waive excise taxes. It's not subject to excise taxes. So that could be what also pivots their business strategy to bring them into profitability. I hope they don't. It's unreal that Hexo's market cap is so low. Yep. I mean, Amazon dropped 95% after the dot-com days, right? And if we look at how low the market cap was then to now, it's laughable, right? But keep in mind, Amazon wasn't selling federal illegal drugs, right, at the Schedule 1 level in the US. So even Amazon dropped 95% after the dot-com bubble. It's right. Markets just get irrational to the upside. They get irrational to the downside. And people say, oh, you can't compare MJ to Amazon. I'm like, yeah, I can't, because it's even worse. They weren't selling federally illegal drugs, right? So the fact that Amazon still dropped 95% just goes to show how manipulated the market is, right? And how based off of emotion it is, right? Whereas, MJ should almost get a pat in the back. It's like, oh my God, you have to deal with the U.S. still saying it's as bad as heroin, right? It's very clear to me that the market is just, it's manipulated. It's unfortunate, but this is just lessons that we learn, right? And this won't be the last time MJ drops 90%. Mark my words. We'll see probably 10 to 100x gains again, and then we'll probably see another 90% pullback until the market matures. We're probably going to continue to see those fluctuations, right? The extended to the upside, extended to the downside. The valuations get absurd to the upside, like when Tilray hit $300 a share, right after its IPO. Obviously, that was absurd valuation to the upside. Now we have absurd valuation to the downside, right? That's just how markets work. But I agree, the market cap is insanely low. Hexo market cap is equal to one decent quarter revenue. Yeah, exactly, right? Crazy. Without liabilities. I added Hexo, Tilray, CGC, High Tide, and ACB today. Very nice. I couldn't resist the sale prices. Yep. I added Hexo and MSOS. I'm going to look to potentially add Hexo again at $1 to defend that support. I'll back up the boat there on that one. And then MSOS I'll add again around $5. Also looking to add more Tilray soon. Probably good on my CGC bag. I will look to add some more US MSOs as well. I'm just more comfortable in MSOS, honestly, because there's just so much uncertainty with the US, right? We don't know how these these capital expenditures are going to roll out when the US legalizes. They're going to have to expand across the whole US, right? Some companies just got a few individual states figured out. So when they have to expand to the whole nation and then globally, that's going to be huge capex, right? And that's either going to be dipping into their cash reserves or it's going to be dilution. Same thing that the LPs are going through, right? The LPs have Canada already figured out, and they're expanding into Germany, international, the US, right? That's why their numbers suck, right? It's because they're capex, right? They've been building at a global level, whereas the US are starting in their own backyard and they're just slowly scaling. Which strategy is going to be the best? We don't know. It's too early to tell. But that's why I'm just investing in MSOS, because I just feel more comfortable putting more dollars into that versus one individual name in the US. But I really like Cureleaf. I really like Cresco. Those are probably my top two favorite MSOs, which I own. I'm going to buy a MSOS and HMMJ at my next paycheck. Yeah, that's an option as well, right? I liked seeing my 40K shares owned before the split. Yeah, see, I was over 50,000 shares, so that's obviously been cut way down. It is what it is, but the price goes up, right? So it doesn't matter. The market cap stayed the same, and the amount of dollars that investment was worth stays the same, right? So to me, I don't see why people care. It's like, oh, they're taking our shares, and unless they dilute again, okay, and then the price keeps going down, it goes back to under. Okay, that's one thing, but like, it'd be one thing if they took your shares and the price didn't go up, but if the price goes up, to me, nothing really changes, right? And yeah, it's not just Hexo having that issue. Sundial just did a 10-to-1 reverse split. Aurora did like a 12-to-1. I take responsibility for my actions. You're right, exactly, right? And I'm down. It's not that I can't sympathize or I can't empathize with you, because I am down over 90% on my Hexo as well. But that's not. Again, if it was Hexo was in this position and the rest of the MJ was flourishing, hitting new all-time highs and doing amazing, I'd be like, holy crap, can't believe I picked that, garbage stock, right? But it's the whole sector's down. Even the poster child's in the US with great numbers that everybody says, MSO gang says that, LPs are garbage. They're not worth owning. The only thing worth owning is the US stocks. Well, what's their excuse, right? And yeah, I took responsibility as well. Granted, I started to dollar cost average back in. I sold into the hype run up in 2021. Sold in my short-term account. My long-term, I didn't sell. I'm holding that till the US legalizes, but it's a lot less dollars in that account. But in my short-term account, I was selling Hexo around, $7 all the way up to about $9. Then it hit $11 USD, and then it dropped all the way down to like 12 cents. I started going back in around $5, right? Like $7, $5, $3. I went in way too soon. So I learned as well. But, I take full responsibility as well, right? They didn't hit the buy or sell button for me. They didn't convince me to invest into them, right? And until it's down and out, we didn't lose anything. So that's all we can do, right? Is just take responsibility, learn from our mistakes, and just do better next time, right? Randy, I wouldn't do anything now, but wait for safe banking or legalization. You probably would make all that back. That's my opinion. I would agree. That's probably what I would do. But you should talk to a financial planner as well. Someone who's legally able to give you financial advice. Everybody's situation is different. So we can say what we would do, but that doesn't mean that's what you should do. Everybody needs to do what's right for them, and there's no two people's situation that'll be the same. So you should probably seek financial advice and figure out whether or not it makes sense to take that loss. It all depends what type of account you have as well. So again, I'm not a financial or a legal expert. I can't give you legal advice or tax advice or anything like that. So I would encourage you, if it's that such large sum of money, I would definitely seek professional opinions. Hexo down 50% within a week, while other MJ stocks down only 15% or less. Well, that's false, because I just showed earlier that MSOS is down over 53% in the last, realistically, not even 3 weeks yet. So it's less than 3 weeks and it's down 53%. And that's an ETF tracking all the major companies in the US, right? That was the weekly time frame. So if we look at Hexo over the last, it looks the same, right? Like look at those three candles. They look the same. How does that not look the same? And MSOS didn't just miss on earnings and they didn't do a 14-to-1 reverse split. What's different about that? Not a whole lot. The percentage is not even that much different either. From the high, Hexo, to the low, 56%. MSOS, ETF, 54%. So, to me, that's the exact same. You can find individual outliers for sure, right? To support whatever thesis you're expecting. But the average right now that looks the same. It'd be way different if MSOS was this. Way different if those are green candles and we were in an uptrend, right? If this was MSOS and this was Hexo, I'd be like, okay, yeah, Hexo's a turd. And what the hell, Hexo? But it's not. That's not the case. We're not on an uptrend. We're the exact same. I'll back up that $1 myself as well. Yeah, you bet. I would say Hexo Army, defend that $1 support at all costs. I added more HR/UN.to instead of weed, they give a nice dividend increase. Yep. Isn't that the real estate one? What other MJ stocks besides MSOS are down? Oh, there's tons. Look at TrueLeave. It's down 57%. You could literally bring up any chart. CL, 54%. Kira, all the big ones. Kira down almost 50%. Like, what stocks aren't down 50%? That's a better question. AYR, 64%. What charts are you looking at, AJ? I'm not like... What you said, while others are down 15% or less, what are the others? You're saying 15% or less. Just today, MedMen's down 28%. Just today, Verano's down 9%. I'm only watching Aurora, CGC, SNDL, and Tilray. Well, again, that's probably the problem then. If you're only watching a select few, it's easy to tailor that. But yeah, CGC in the last 3 weeks, it's down 51%. Tilray, 46%. Aurora, 37. What was the other one you said? SNDL? 40. Yeah, like it's all bad, right? And what's their excuse? At least Hexo has an excuse. They did a reverse split, missed on earnings. Safe banking didn't get passed, right? Just amplified a little bit more. Just in the last week, though, like I'm sure we can time it down to any time frame that we want, right? And make it look like one's doing better than the other. But the consensus and the average is the same. If you look over like the last month, right? I would go off the last month, right? Because like that's a little bit longer of a time frame, and they all look very, very similar. But yeah, on the weekly chart, you could go down. Okay, well they don't look the same on the 5 minute, right? You could make the case, okay, like this one's doing better on the 5 minute, it's doing better on the daily. Like when we're in a multi-year bear market, I wouldn't be looking at anything other than the monthly chart. And if we look at the monthly, they all look the same, right? What do we know that we need to see before the bear market's over? We need monthly uptrends. And like, look at all those monthly charts. They're the same, right? Samesies. It's rough that Hexo tanks more than the others. Yeah, I know. Like, definitely, I understand. But you got to remember they did do a 14-to-1 reverse split. Plus, they missed on earnings. Plus, they're dealing with the market weakness in the S&P 500. They're dealing with the sector weakness and the lack of safe banking getting passed through. Right. So it's just it's amplified for sure. Yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from. You're right with regards to that. But like I said, the markets don't follow itself down to the second, the day, the minute, the week. But if you look at, I wouldn't be looking at anything other than the monthly time frame in MJ because we've been in a brutal bear market for years. I'm not too concerned what we do on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis. What I'm looking at is the macro monthly. You could even zoom out to the yearly chart, right? At this point. But yeah, hopefully that helps. I know it's frustrating. It is what it is, though, right? Thanks, Rod. Keep supporting us in these bad times of the market, especially MJ. Cheers. Yeah, you bet. Cheers as well. And like I said, it's easy for me it'd be easy for me to just put my head in the sand and not have to worry about this either. But like I said, when we're in brutal bear markets and we're down 80 to 90% across the board, now's the time where you guys probably need the pick me up a little bit more than any other, or the rationale or my thinking or just reassurance or whatever word you want to use. Most people feel like a genius in a bull market, right? So they don't need to go to YouTube and watch this guy to reassure them that they're doing well. It's like, of course I'm doing well. My account's flying to, new all-time highs and I'm making money hand over fist, right? It's in the bear market where we need a lot more of that support, right? In my opinion. So, no, I'll be here through the thick and the thin, as I've always said. And, I'm just in the same boat as everybody else, right? I'm down, 80 to 90% on a lot of my MJ investments. But again, it is what it is. I was fully prepared. It's not the first time I've experienced a 80 to 90% drop in MJ. Won't be the last. I've experienced it in crypto as well. Like I said, Netflix, in a matter of like 6 months, it was down 80%, right? So if it can happen to Netflix, with what, almost $1 trillion market cap at that point. I'm not sure what the market cap was at, but if it can happen to Netflix, it can happen to anything, especially a Schedule 1 drug in the same list as heroin. So yeah, it is what it is. All markets are risky. All investments have risk. But that's just why we need to have a plan and not break the golden rule, which is invest more than we're willing to lose. And if we do find ourselves breaking that rule, learn from it. Don't make that same mistake twice. Develop a plan, stick to the plan, and just ride it out, right? It's just money at the end of the day. And what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And, I've lost 5 figures before, but I'm glad I lost 5 figures versus starting with 6 figures, right? Losing 5 figures really set the tone and said, okay, that was an expensive mistake, but at least I didn't have 6 figures. Or if you lost 6 figures, okay, well, at least I didn't lose 7 figures, right? There's always some silver lining or way to look at it. But yeah, it depends on how much your net worth is too. But, definitely start low, get successful at, investing and trading, whatever your style is. And then, start with, I even did a video on it, tips and tricks. I said, start with 3 figures, then get to 4 figures, go to 4 figures to 5 figures, 5 figures to 6 figures. And then, especially if you're in crypto, something risky where you could get hacked or something like that, an exchange could go insolvent like FTX, Celsius, Quadriga, right? There's all these examples, right? So just having that risk management, right? You got the knowledge. I need years and years to get to your level. Yeah, well, there's no shortcut. That's definitely true. I didn't, I had to go through the ups and downs, the peaks and the valleys. I had to make the mistakes. I probably made more mistakes than everybody else on the stream combined, but that's how you, but I got lucky too, right? There's some investments that I got extremely lucky on that I didn't expect happen, like to happen, right? Like the real estate market in Prince Edward Island. I didn't expect real estate to over double in a few years. Like, when does that ever happen in the history of the planet where, someone buy a house and then in 5 years or so, it's worth double? Like that was just, that's what, really set me up for success. But, I had multiple properties. If you only have all your eggs in one basket, then you miss all those shots that you didn't take, right? Thanks, Rod, for your input over the year, for your followers, and for your followers. Have a happy holiday. Go Oilers. You bet. Go Oilers. Love the Oilers. Happy holidays to you as well. Happy holidays to everybody on the stream. I'll be doing videos probably throughout the holidays as well. We'll see what I've got a couple of videos that I've been meaning to get out as well. Just haven't had the time. So during the downtime, that might be a good idea. Got a lot of requests about my Airbnb as well. Some people just asking about just a generic overview of what I did to get set up there. So you might be able to expect something like that. But obviously the main focus on the channel is MJ and then crypto. So, we're going to continue to go by that theme, and, 80 to 90% of my content is MJ. And that's just because I'm an MJ enthusiast by nature, right? I really do think I was put on this earth to pioneer this great industry, and I'm going to be here to the end. As long as I'm on this earth, I'll be making videos primarily centric around MJ. All right. Thanks again for everybody who joined the stream today. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, all that good stuff. Whatever you celebrate in your household, make sure to spend time with your friends and family, and try not to get too sucked into the computer. Just take a break. Whatever you need to do, clear your head, enjoy time with family and friends. Be grateful, be humble, be thankful that we're even alive to experience this great industry unfolding, and just learn from those mistakes. And what else can I say, right? It's been a hard few years, I know, but at the end of the day, just do what we can do, control what we can control, and just be grateful that we're even here to experience it. And I'm grateful that I'm experiencing it with you all, and I'm grateful that I have such a great community, right? Like I'm surprised that out of all the people that are on here, not one person had any malintent or any offensive language or anything like that. So kudos to everybody on here for being an adult and just showing that respect, and it goes mutually both ways. So wish you nothing but success in the future, and have a great end of the year. Enjoy the holidays. Stay safe. Take care. We'll talk to you again soon.